Right. Okay. So not a lot of data this week. Obviously, pretty quiet on a Monday. Not too untypical. I think the main highlight of the week is going to be non-farm payroll. Obvious. Yeah, so we start as usual. We start to get some US jobs data on Wednesday, 1:15 UK time. We're looking for employment change number there at 1:15. Then we get CAD GDP. Oh, that would be interesting to see some Chinese manufacturing data. More data on Thursday, UK manufacturing. So we've got weekly jobs on Thursday, US weekly jobs, followed by manufacturing on Thursday. And Friday, the non-farm payroll. I hope we're not going to get a repeat of last week where we get a pretty quiet week. Whoa, what's happened to my charts? Oh, I know what's happened. So we get a pretty quiet week followed by a big burst of activity on Friday. But let's see. So this is my US dollar yen. I don't know if you've seen the video I did on US dollar yen. But it was just talking about this chart pattern here, this reversal pattern. Bear with me 1 minute, a lot of noise coming from my window, hang on. I'm in a harbour and the seagulls, as usual, are going crazy. Yeah, we are obviously getting people coming back to their desks now. So I'm hoping volumes will increase, particularly as we've got some interesting data. So yeah, we spent the week not doing much. One thing to note on the week was the fact that we had this gap. So we gapped up to, so on Sunday when the markets opened, we gapped up to 180 roughly. We spent the first at least a couple of days in the week just drifting back down to close the gap. So we shuffled around, punched up to this 50 EMA, and eventually dropped back down to my entry, close to my entry level. I was scalping scaling in and out on this, and then took a trade on a setup actually after 15 minutes after the data, and then got a nice run out of it. So we've gapped up again. So we've gapped up to 190. Let's see. Let me see where the gap is. We've gapped up to just under 102. And in actual fact, this is where we are. This is where we were when we opened on Sunday. So the gap close is 101.80. So let me just pin that down. So that's the gap fill. In fact, I'll keep that fairly light, but I will just keep it in dashes. Actually, I'm going to make that red. Okay, that's the gap fill. If we get a repeat of last week, then where's the gap fill? Not enough data on it, hang on. Clear all this out the way. So last Monday was 22nd. Here's the gap. Here's the gap. So there's Sunday's gap. So we spent the week, a large part of the week, just shuffling around this level here. Shuffling around that trend line. Started to lift up on the 23rd into the 24th. and then with all the volume that we saw in the data, so the first direction was up, wave 2 was down, and then wave 3 was a return to the initial direction and the run. And that is a pretty typical high volume run. So we could see the same again. We could drift down into Friday's support. So another key level is going to be that 190. So this is where I'd love to start getting position again at 190, and then see if I can get another move up. So we could, like I said, we could so easily see a repeat of last week, where we hang around, drift around, because let's face it, what's going to affect the dollar? What's going to affect the dollar is the job numbers and inflation. That's the two key things. That's the whole reason for the quantitative easing in the first place. Maintaining some momentum in the economy and sustaining inflation, because deflation is a very, very evil thing for an economy, and it's very, very difficult for central banks to fight against, as we know from a heck of a lot of history from Japan. Okay, so these are the numbers I like. I tell you what, one of the best things to do might be just to keep the fibs on the whole week, from today's highs to Friday's lows, and then you'll see, look, the fibs are picking up these key levels I've just identified. So I think that's what in actual fact, let me just take this off. Let's just keep this nice and clean, and I'm going to keep the fibs on that chart all week to see if we can come and join it. If I bring my, let me think, let's bring the 4-hour chart into this. So you can see there's the big move. We've got the 20 and 50 EMA cross down here. So what I think these two moving averages need to meet, or all these two moving averages down here need to come together with the 200, which would give us those pullbacks to the 190 level. All right, so that's my goal for dollar yen. Let's have a look at pound yen. Pound yen had a good week last week, and this is fibs on the pre-Brexit high and the post-Brexit low. We didn't even meet the 50, so we've not done a 50% retracement on this yet. It is in a downtrend, so what I don't want to do is suddenly start talking about a major new uptrend here, because we are clearly struggling. 200 EMA has been tested up here on the 15th of July, 21st of July, and we are just coming in contact with it again at 475. So this one, I would just repeat the exercise we've done with the US dollar yen, and God, it's had a good day today actually. I think the Asian period took it up. Where are we now? So let's put that's last week's. So if we fib today's high and Friday's low again, if you want to trade this one, watch out for 133, or if it drops further, 132.85. Not a lot of UK data this week, but these are nice figures. These are nice numbers. If you look at this one, took a while longer to kick off. US dollar yen kicked off 15 minutes after the data. This one kicked off much. We actually got going much later into, oh, actually after the London close. It did the bulk of it after the London close. That's interesting. Well, that leads me to believe that what we might do is see a pullback to that London close. I'm going to highlight that a little bit differently. What am I going to do? Let's make it really heavy. Okay, the other one to watch is the euro. Let's keep this session nice and swift. The euro daily, coming into this 2 EMA. This is such a box play. This one, this is the euro going right back to Feb 15, and we're just in a massive box. So at some stage we're going to break out of this box. I'm just expecting a lot more US dollar strength, but I would love to get short around about 265, or maybe, who knows, maybe even see a retest of that resistance line. In terms of Elliott, let's have a look. Where's my pen? 1, 2, 3. So the actual fact, this is still bullish. If we hold here, it could get back up, but I suspect somewhere into Friday, somewhere around this zone here, so 260 to 350 is going to be the place where that could edge down again. And bearing in mind what we talked about in terms of the data flow, that could be Friday again. So we need to watch out for those. I'll open the room for the non-farm payroll and we will watch that one. Right, anybody else got any other pairs that they want to watch? I don't think there's any significant charts I'm interested in. Dow, yeah, just coming on to that. I was thinking of Forex initially. Let's have a look at the Dow. I did actually short this today. I shorted it down to 490, 495, only for a few quid. I was hardly in it. You can see 80 quid on the board there. I got one stop out and then one move. I didn't hang around. I actually fired the computer up to do some work on the website and just saw a setup. So just took it. I took this red bar here. I shorted it up at this 520 and took it off around about the 495. Can't resist, can I? Right, so weekly. So we got these highs at 18,680. We got a couple of weeks of lower numbers here. Elliott, 1, 2, 3. 4 typically does hover around. So although we are bearish here, a couple of weeks lower closes, but we are holding up. So what do I think of this? Are we bullish or bearish? Got to say, one of the reasons that attracted me to the short was this 20 simple average. There's not much difference between it. It's a 20-day simple moving average. Why have I got that? Because it's pretty good at picking up the trend. Once we close above it here, you can see it's a fairly straight line. We dip into it and then we dip back out again. We dip underneath it, so it gets short for a couple of weeks, and as soon as we start dipping up again, then we start breaking. So at the moment we're coming underneath this, and we could, while we've got this big trend line here, there is the danger that we could come down and test this trend line. So come on, am I bullish or am I bearish? Let's make my mind up. All the time we're above 18.5, there could be a tendency to push back into these highs and hold. If we start closing under 18.5, then expect this to potentially come all the way down to test this trend line at 17.8. So where are we? We've got an hour and 42 minutes till the close. So it's all going to be about what they do with this in that remaining period, I think. Yeah, with a big number, bear in mind what the Fed said on Friday and the fact that non-farm payroll on next Friday, unfortunately we could be in for a quiet period. So how would you handle it? Just look to see if we get into these zones on the 4 hour. Just look to see if they sell it into these zones. So 18.6, we get up to 18.6 and we start seeing a sell signal, then I would look to get short that. If we start holding up here, then you might want to join the crowd and buy along. So we're only 85 points off of that test. It's a bullish move, isn't it? It's a very, very bullish move out of the gates today. So all pullbacks are getting bought at the moment. It's a tough spot for the Dow here. Let's look at the FTSE. Chart patterns. Oh, we were in a channel here after this push up from Brexit. We channeled from 6th of July to the 4th of August. So we dipped under the fibs down here at 5.7, pulled our socks up. So again, it's how we handle. Let's see how we open tomorrow. What chart patterns have we got? So at the moment, that's quite an expansive bullish flag at the moment, but we just need to see how we handle 68.50. So like I said, I think I talked about 18.6 on the Dow. On this one, if you are bearish, doesn't matter whether you're bullish or bearish, just watch out what happens to that. Because if we get anywhere between 68.40 and 68.60 and we get a sell signal, at the very least that's worth sitting in it for a while and see what happens. 4 hour MACD's on the floor. Just watch out for these areas tomorrow. Gold and oil. I promise I'll be pretty quick, so let me just hurry along. Weekly gold. Let's just tidy this right up. Chart pattern. No, I don't like that. That's not healthy. We're holding up, aren't we? But this is potentially just a bullish consolidation because a drop into that support at 13 could see that get another leg up. So we appear to be just drifting lower to meet this moving average, which could trigger the next leg. Yeah, so we're coming to an overall trend line high. We are certainly seeing some divergence up here. If you look at this MACD, look at the histogram on the MACD. We have been making higher highs on the chart, but making lower highs on the histogram. So we get a crossover here and start hitting 1380 and rolling over. With a stronger dollar, this could start to slip down. It's in a tough spot. I find that hard to call at the moment. Oops, I'm messing my charts up, aren't I? I'm much more bearish than I'm bullish because of that, the way in which we sold off on Friday. I think if we creep back into 1340, we might see some selling. So I would just wait for this to retrace. If I was going to trade this, I'd wait till this retrace to 1336, but potentially somewhere higher, and then get short. Oil. I mean, typically, as we get into the autumn, oil does tend to wander lower. Dry season's out of the way. Everybody gets back to, the Americans get back to work, or the West gets back to work. So we had something, a bit of a reversal bar up there on the 26th. If we can close above 48, then I think I have been talking about this bullishly recently in this push higher. I think again a dip into 46 could see this, and if we can start closing higher, I think for a chart that's got so much bullish action, I would not want to start shorting this. 1, 2, 3, 4, consolidate, 15 EMA gets back in touch, and then we get the leg up to the resistance. If we hover around here and then start closing above, then I think we could see 55, 60. I've got to be consistent. I've been consistently talking about this being bullish, so I don't want to suddenly start suggesting you sell this when we are holding up so well. So any pushes into that, these lower levels, 46, are potentially a buy zone, and on the 4 hour that is actually a fib zone. To me, that's much clearer than gold. Gold's much harder to call, I think, I find at the moment, but that is clearly in a trend line, in a trend. Just got a bit ahead of itself, and a pullback I think should get bought. Right, anybody in any stocks. Before we look at any stocks, let's have a quick look at a couple of bellwethers. Facebook. That's had a nasty bad tick today. Only EU. Okay. Are you're short? What are you doing with the EU? Can you share your entry and target on that? Wow, Facebook is clean, isn't it? That's really clean. Swing short from over a week ago, right? Okay. Ah, yes. Remember you shorted on a spike high, didn't you? If I remember you correctly. Wow, Facebook is good. I think to get the volume in Facebook, that's got to come back to this level here. I think that's hunting for a pullback. Hit it on the top. Yeah, I remember that. That was good. So Facebook is good at 117 if you see it. Interesting to see if that holds into the close. Goldman's. What's Goldman's doing? Gap down Friday. No, gap down today, sorry. Okay, these are not very good charts for stocks. I'll do, okay, it's 7:30 now anyway. I've been going for 30 minutes. So I think I'll leave this for now and then do a more detailed stock account tomorrow, I think. Any questions? So yeah, if you're day trading, I'm already seeing a little bit more weakness in the Dow. If markets are going to change direction, then they do like to have two stabs at resistance levels. No need to draw it back from there. If you just did, so we're pulling back to this 20 EMA and holding at the moment, so that could give us another leg up into the close. But just keep an eye on that. I think that's a reasonable scalp to start. That's a sell signal up there at 7:15. So while we've been talking, the Dow's put in an intraday sell signal. New high on the 15-minute chart, close below on the 15-minute at 7:15 UK time, and here we are 20 points lower. A little bit slow. So we're coming off the daily 20 at the moment. We're coming off of that fib level up there. All right, well, I hope that's helpful for you. Yeah, US dollar yen will be my chart of the week again. I will be looking to pick up some low levels on that one. And equally, I'm very happy to mark off. We didn't actually talk in detail about the euro, did we? We did go through the bigger time frames, but the smaller time frames, I would suggest, if you are bearish on this one, the gap down here on Sunday, 250, anything between 250 and 300 is a potential sell signal on that one. May not even get there. We may barely see 230. If you're in it, you could hedge. So if you see a bull, if we look as if we're holding this 200 EMA, you could do some counter trend trades. For example, if you look at this today, we started getting some small time frame buy signals here around the 165 mark. It took ages to do 30-40 pips, so it's really lethargic on the upside. But it is a counter trend trade, so if you are bearish, you could do a half size bull move into these resistance levels, and then just I would scalp, just look for small moves into resistance levels just to hedge your position and hopefully bolster your account. But just bear in mind you're counter trend trading, so wait for a good healthy level at which they might buy this. But you know, I'm talking about counter trend trading, and that's not what I'm here for really. That's more an advanced technique if you are if you've got enough hours on your belt to manage your account in a counter trend position. But the easiest thing to do is to get in a trade and stick to it, and by the sound of your trading vid, I think that's what you're doing, which is the way to go. Yeah, don't start taking longs if you are very, very bearish, unless you really know what you're doing and your strategy allows you to do that. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because it's bank holiday weekend here. I'm going to use up what time I've got left, and see you in the room tomorrow. What date have we got tomorrow? Let's have a look. Pretty weak. I'm going to come into the room about 8:30 tomorrow. So if we log on at 8:30, I'll post that in the Skype room to remind you, and then we'll see where we go from there. Alright, thanks very much guys, thanks for joining me. Any more questions, ask now, otherwise I will see you then. Okay, bye.